But I need to know more about the Mendeecees thing. What really happened?
Because you know these bitches are on to you now.
I mean, what do married men do when they not around their wife? Especially when they're not wearing a ring.
He wasn't even wearing a ring. You said that he texted you. Can you show me those text messages, please?
Well, I never gave him my number.
How was he communicating? DM?
Yeah.
Let me see what this mother had to say. Hey there. How you doing? He goes, I'm great, love. Where you at these days? Miami or Atlanta?
I even asked him when I seen him, I was like, are you married? He said, it's complicated.
You know what's complicated? Complicated is the fact that I have to go to your wife now and have this conversation, which breaks my heart because I know what it's like to be embarrassed by a man. And that's what's complicated.
How do you guys come up to each other?
He came up to me, like every single time I see him, just like always in my
So
face.
this one particular time.
I was having a martini. Our sections were near each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was like literally facing towards his section. Mm-hmm. He literally got off the chair, sat beside me. He was like literally trying to talk to me the entire night.
And is he with anybody?
No.
Yandy wasn't there?
Even if she was, I couldn't tell. He was just right beside me the entire night.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, he had his eyes on you. And you said he didn't have on a ring.
No ring at all.
What are we talking about? He's a married man. You don't need to be communicating with some girl that you've literally been harassing at a club. I know men like him because he gets away with it all the time. He's gonna try to do it in this scenario too, and I'm not letting it happen.
I don't like having to put myself in this situation where I have to have a conversation with a woman about her husband because I know how that is. And I've never had this kind of interaction with Yandy before, but I have to make sure that I get ahead of things and make sure that if she finds out, because Shatana and everybody talks, I have to make sure that she at least hears it from me.
It was a quiet Saturday afternoon when Jessica White's world was turned upside down. She never imagined that one simple family gathering would lead her to discover secrets that would forever alter her relationships with those she loved most. It all started innocuously enough, a gathering of family, laughter filling the air, and the comfort of familiar faces surrounding her. But little did she know, something was brewing in the background, something that would pull the rug out from under her, revealing the cracks in the foundation of their family.
After talking to my niece Robin, I decided with all the information and more details that I need to go and sit down woman to woman with Yandy. So I'm pulling up and I'm gonna show her the receipts and that's all I can do.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
Come on, buddy,
It smells so good in here.
I got you.
How you been doing?
I've been good. I've been busy. You see, I'm here closing up the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is over it. He's like, girl, get rid of this so we can do some other things. Let me check with the chef on our food.
I really don't like to be a bearer of bad news, so to have to be put in this position is very uncomfortable for me. I'm extremely nervous.
So what's been going on? What is wrong?
My niece told me that she was at a club and Mendeecees tried to holler at her.
When?
A couple months ago,
I know he found her on Instagram and I had her send me the snapshots.
This is DM? Tell me the name, because I'm in his DM.
Robin?
Robin.
Yeah.
After this, Yandy read the conversation and she confirms that she know all about this conversation and your niece Robin. She go to Mendeecees and asking everything about him.
Oh, I know this DM. I was DMing her. That was me. Wipe your tears, honey. I can tell you the whole DM. We were at Red Martini, and I saw Big Chat. I was on one side of the room. She was on the other side of the room. She came up to him. She was very aggressive, grabbing him. And I said, who was that? He said, I don't know her. She asked me, was I married? She asked me for my information. And I said, and what happened? He said, I told her it's complicated. She said, I'm a DM you when I walked away. So I waited for the DM. And then when she DM'd him, I said, what took you so long?
Well, let me see it.
Yeah, this is all me. And the reason why I did this is because when I said that interaction looked real strange, honey, I said, you look real nervous. And he said, I'm telling you, it's nothing.
Let me see this again.
That's me.
That's him.
Scroll up. Yes, baby. This is him. What?
But no, he says, hey first.
This is me, honey.
I'm so confused. This is not the story that I heard from my niece. I know that Yandy was not the one that was DMing her. Yandy's husband was. She's clearly lying to my face, and I'm not calling her out about it because I don't feel that I should. She's already hurt. I have empathy for her, so what I'm not gonna do is pull the guillotine down on a woman who literally is already choking herself to death.
I appreciate you. But one thing about him and I, we don't have problems when it comes to women. But in our world, they can't wait for somebody. They can't wait for me to have a reason to walk out that door and never speak to my husband again. To say, we got him. We got this time. We got him. Try again, mother. It's been a hot topic about Mendeecees and I for some time now. And I'm sick of it. This is not a marriage for your clickbait. This is not a marriage that you can tear down simply because you thought you had me caught in a DM or you thought him had him caught in a DM. So next time you think that you're gonna turn my household up and down, think again. They mother mouth. They love to sit out here and say, what you doing, who you doing it with, what you doing. She came in as a friend with tears in her eyes, didn't want to tell me something because she thought she was doing something out of pocket. She had no idea, and you don't even have any idea. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. Because I was up to something, and I owe you an apology, first of all, because I had you looking crazy in these streets when it comes to her and somebody that's related to her. Remember we was at Red Martini one day, and there was a girl that approached you, and I was like, what was that about? So when you came, that's her niece. So when you came back to me, and I said, what's it? You was like, I don't know, Robin or something. I looked her up, and I DM'd her from your Instagram, and I said, hey. 3 days later or so, she was like, hey there. And then I said, what took you so long? And then she said, oh, nothing, whatever she said, back and forth. I was DMing her.
I have the message, but it looked like
she grabbed me. No, she grabbed me. It was like, yo,
I hit her up.
She grabbed me. She was like, yo, you still married? You still married? She still
I told her.
You told her that it was complicated.
Wasn't speaking in his usual confident manner. His voice was quieter, more introspective, as if he were unburdening himself of something heavy. Robin, though younger and less experienced, seemed to be listening intently, as though she were absorbing every word. Jessica leaned in slightly, trying to catch the fragments of their conversation. She didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the words she overheard would change everything. Sometimes, I don't know if I made the right choices, Mendeecees said, his voice tinged with regret. Robin, though she was only a teenager, nodded as if she understood, offering a comforting reply. I don't think anyone always gets it right, Uncle Mendeecees. But you're trying. That counts for something. Jessica's heart skipped a beat. It wasn't the kind of conversation she expected to hear from Mendeecees, especially not about the mistakes of his past. Robin was the last person she'd imagined him confiding in about these things. Still, Jessica tried to shake off the feeling of unease settling in her chest. But then, she heard something that made her freeze. Mendeecees, voice barely audible, confessed, I don't even know if Yandy would still stand by me if she knew everything. There are things I've done that could ruin us. Ruin everything. Jessica's stomach twisted. Yandy was Mendeecees' wife, his partner through thick and thin. The idea that he would speak so freely about such a deep, hidden part of his past to Robin was alarming. She could feel the weight of the words hanging in the air. She had always known Mendeecees to be a complicated man, but this was different. This wasn't just about his mistakes. It was about his secrets, the things he had kept buried, and the trust that seemed to be fraying between him and Yandy. For a moment, Jessica considered walking away, pretending she hadn't heard anything. But the more she thought about it, the more she realized that this wasn't something she could ignore. Yandy deserved to know. She had always been there for Mendeecees, stood by him through his darkest days, and supported him when the world turned its back on him. Jessica couldn't, in good conscience, keep this information from her. But revealing what she knew was no small task. Yandy and Mendeecees had built a life together, one that many envied. Their bond seemed unshakable, despite all the obstacles they had faced. How could Jessica be the one to tear that down? How could she break the trust that Yandy had placed in her as a friend, knowing that this could destroy everything they had worked so hard to build? That evening, as the party began to wind down, Jessica found herself alone with Yandy in the kitchen. Yandy was stirring a pot of food, humming a soft tune as she worked. There was something so serene about the moment, yet Jessica couldn't shake the weight of the truth she was carrying. She felt like a prisoner to the secret, her heart racing as she tried to figure out how to break the news to Yandy. Yandy, can I talk to you for a minute? Jessica asked, her voice trembling slightly. Yandy turned toward her, a smile on her face that quickly faded when she saw the seriousness in Jessica's eyes. What's wrong? Yandy asked, concern creeping into her tone. Jessica took a deep breath, her mind racing with thoughts of what to say. She had never been one to shy away from difficult conversations, but this felt different. This was more than just a passing disagreement. It was something that could change everything between Yandy and Mendeecees. I overheard something today, a conversation between Mendeecees and Robin, Jessica began, her voice steady but filled with an undercurrent of emotion. He said things, Yandy, things that made me question everything I thought I knew. Yandy's eyes widened, her hand pausing in midair as she processed the words. What kind of things? Jessica hesitated for a moment, gathering her thoughts. He admitted that there are things he's done in the past, things that could tear your world apart if you knew about them. He said he didn't know if you would still stand by him if you knew everything. The silence in the room was deafening. Yandy stood frozen, her face going pale as the weight of Jessica's words settled on her. The air seemed thick with tension, and Jessica could see the storm brewing in Yandy's eyes. This was not the news Yandy had been expecting. It wasn't the life she had envisioned with Mendeecees, one of trust and partnership. For a moment, Yandy didn't speak. She simply looked at Jessica, her lips pressed tightly together as if trying to keep her emotions in check. Then slowly she spoke, her voice a mixture of disbelief and sorrow. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you say anything?" "I didn't know what to say," Jessica replied quietly, her own guilt weighing heavily on her shoulders. "I didn't want to hurt you, but you deserve the truth. I couldn't keep it from you any longer." Yandy took a shaky breath, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I don't even know what to think right now. I don't know if I can trust him again after this." After hearing that, the emotional toll of the revelation was too much for Yandy to bear in that moment. The woman who had always been the emotional rock of her family, who had weathered storms and supported Mendeecees through his toughest times, was now crumbling before Jessica. She had given so much of herself to him, but now she felt betrayed, unseen, and unloved. "I don't know if I can go on living in a lie," Yandy whispered, more to herself than to Jessica. Her heart ached with the thought of losing the man she had once believed in so completely. Jessica stood by her side, helpless. She couldn't take away the pain Yandy was feeling, nor could she undo the damage that had been done. The truth had come out, but it had shattered the perfect image of their family. Yandy's world had been turned upside down, and there was no going back. As the days passed, the family was caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Mendeecees had no choice but to face the consequences of his actions. The guilt, the shame, and the fear of losing everything weighed heavily on him. But it was Yandy who had to make the hardest decision of all, whether to forgive him or walk away from everything they had built together. It was a long and painful road, filled with tears, arguments, and moments of doubt. But through it all, Yandy found strength she didn't know she had. She fought for her family, fought for Mendeecees, and fought for the love they had shared. But as the truth settled in, she realized that some things could never be the same again. In the end, the drama and heartbreak that had begun with a conversation between Mendeecees and Robin would never fully fade. The road to healing was long, and the scars would remain. But Yandy knew one thing for certain: she would never stop fighting for her family, even if it meant facing the truth head-on, no matter how painful it might be. How painful